Hey everybody, and welcome to Entraz. You'll see I finally got my glasses fixed so they're not so dark anymore. Alright, well, I told my mom I would create this for her a while back, and you know, with all the talk on the Firewalla and kind of protecting yourself, I just wanted to do this quick video on a TP-Link AC750, and they also have an AC300, which is a single band. You know, one of the things you'll see a lot is that, you know, we need to be protected when we're somewhere like an RV park, a hotel room, whatever. And I really do love this TP-Link because it gives us a lot of different options. Now you can get this thing right here. I went out and bought it a nice little nifty carrying case. It came with a little carabiner, so I can, you know, put it on my luggage or something. But this thing's pretty neat. Right here you have a network cable that you could potentially plug into your computer, or would it be a switch or a router, whatever you may have. And there's not a lot of room in here, but you might want to invest in a second network cable. But we'll get into that in a little bit. The power cable here is one of the little USB minis. So, I mean, this is a pretty old system, but it still works phenomenally. We also have power adapter and the device itself, as you can see here on the screen. Opening up my TP-Link here, you're going to see that it is really, really small. It seriously fits in my hand. We have the WAN LAN with a couple of different mode options here. Hopefully it'll... There you go. So you're going to see we have the network interface and 3 separate modes we can use. Let's see. On this side we have a USB connection. I think that's for like external storage. I could be mistaken. I'll have to double check on that. But the Wi-Fi is actually integrated into this guy, so you don't have to worry about that. And the last one, of course, is a reset button and the power. Basically, it's the USB mini there. I think it might be on your left, I hope. So yeah, you just plug this thing into power. It comes with a USB type power adapter here. It's got input of 100 to 240, so it'll work outside the states. 50-60 hertz, half an amp, 22 volt amps. The output is 5 volts at 2 amps. So it does take it down quite a bit. It's not terrible. 5 volt usually comes out of a PC, but a non-powered one is technically what? 500 milliamps? And this thing takes it down to 2 amps or 2000 milliamps. Even though I think I plugged this into my laptop and it still worked. But this is something we can check out. For now, we'll just plug in the power cable, and of course this guy here. I'm going to take this WAN LAN interface and plug this into my computer so we can see kind of the splash page to see how to configure this thing. It is pretty neat and pretty intuitive. So give me 1 minute. Now, as I sit here, just in case anyone has the different answer to that, there are some ports you might see on your computer that has a little lightning bolt next to USB. I hope it's a lightning bolt. That is not a lightning input-output. That just means that the port is powered, i.e. it does provide more wattage and more amps than a typical USB would. Anyway, so we're going to plug this thing in, and then I'm going to connect it to my LAN. Of course, I mean, like I said, I've had this thing for years, and the USB cable doesn't seem to be, you know, staying plugged in, so I have to find a different USB, so I'm trying to find that. So I found my trusty Xbox power cable. I love these Xbox USB cables. I mean, seriously, they were really, really long. I think this one actually came with the Xbox Elite 1 controller. You know, the Elite 2 goes to USB-C, so don't really have a need for this much anymore, but hopefully it'll come in handy now. All right, let's plug this thing in. Fingers crossed. There you go. We're nice and powered up. There you go. Starting to blink at me. That means a little kernel on this thing is starting to boot up. So in the front, you're going to have a couple of things here. You're going to have a lock button. I'm not really sure what that does. But then there's a USB, a Wi-Fi, it looks like an alarm clock, and of course power. Now you can't actually push these buttons on the front here, though it looks like you can push the lock button. We'll have to research that to see what that does. But for now, I am currently connected to my home network. So let me plug this in and we'll get started. But first, I want to give a shout out to a company called Ugreen. Well, it's another China-based business, but they do really make a lot of good stuff. These have these really, really nice cables. Of course, if it'll focus on me. There you go. They make these really nice cables here. They have a little snagless design. It's a soft plastic, so it doesn't get really, really hard like some of the other ones do. It's a stranded network cable. I mean, they're a little thick, yes, but I love these things because, like I said, they're really well made. I can do 10 gig with these things really well. I believe these are Cat 7 UGREEN, Ugreen. And no, they're not paying me to say this. I just really like these cables. All right, so now we're connected. So let's see what happens when we plug into the shared hotspot. I don't think it's actually going to work, but you know, we'll take a look. Luckily, my computer does have Wi-Fi capabilities, so if we need to, I can always connect to that. For now, let me plug in the network in here and see what happens. Move my stuff out of the way. Okay. Let me just move this up, just in case. ipconfig/release. Alright, so I have it connected as a shared hotspot, and you'll see here I have 192.168.0.100 as my IP address. We try go to the default gateway to manage our adapter. Let's take a look to see what this thing says. Hopefully it'll work. Let's try to ping that gateway though, just to make sure it's actually working, which yes it is. Let's try doing non-HTTPS. Now you're going to see that it came up now. So the AC750 travel router, we come in and put the username of admin and a password of admin starting out. Now you're going to see here that we have a whole bunch of different options we can choose from. Looking at the status page, we'll see the firmware version, hardware version, the LAN MAC, the LAN IP address, and the gateway. Let's see, we're currently operating on 2.4 and 5 gigahertz for the WISP and enabled. So the 2.4 works in 11 BG and N. The 5 gigahertz works in AN and AC. It'll also tell you the channel 1 and 36. The channel width, of course, is auto, and of course the wireless MAC address. You also notice when we look down here at the WAN option, there's nothing there because my computer is plugged directly in to this TP-Link. So what we can do here is, let's look at the quick setup. Run the quick setup to manually configure your internet connection and wireless settings. The network shows us what our WAN connectivity should be, so we can actually change this to static PPPoE PPPoE, L2TP, PPTP, and a big pond. Not sure what those are, but probably says down here somewhere. So the WAN connection is dynamic. Our wireless, so I was at the KOA up north in Montana recently, and that's the SSID we were connected to, so it kind of saves that, which is cool. You can come in here and tell it what mode you want, if you want to run BGN or a mix of 2 or 3. You can manually assign the channel and the channel width, auto 20 or 40. And of course, you can also have it not broadcast the SSID if you want it to. So in this case, let's do a scan. So you're going to notice here, and I have all my neighbors blocked out, I have the NTRW admin and of course the TIM Netgear, which are my 2 SSIDs. There's also a third one here with a strength of 81 that isn't shown for some reason. But what I want to do is I want to show you what happens when we connect. So let me do whatismyip.com, and you're going to notice nothing happens. This is because my computer is not connected to the internet. This splash page here is just something my computer cached recently, and you're going to notice that it failed. So let's come over here to TIM Netgear and hit connect. Okay, I have the SSID, the MAC address, it's WPA2 pre-shared key. It's an open system running the AES encryption, and I need to give it a wireless password, which I grayed out because it doesn't gray it out automatically. So someone could shoulder surf and see what your wireless password is. Keep that in mind. Once we hit save, we'll let it save its settings. So I mean, it looks like it saved everything just fine. So let's go over here to the status and look at our WAN. So the WAN, yes, is currently connected to my wireless network, TIM Netgear, and it got an IP address of 10.2.102.50. From here, let's go back to other options. Basic settings. We're good. Wireless security. WPA2 personal is going to be pre-shared key on WPA2, and here's my wireless password. I'm going to change this so I remember it next time. We also have the enterprise option if you have a Radius server, and if you have a really old system, we also have the WEP, or Wired Equivalency Protocol. Wired Equivalency Protocol, but it's really not. So WPA2 is the minimum I would recommend for any wireless Wi-Fi network, and WPA3 especially if it offers it. So from here we hit save. You can also do the WPS if you wanted to, which is the Wi-Fi protected setup, and you can use this if you have a wireless access point. So like if you have a TP-Link or whoever as your wireless router, you'll probably see a little button on the device with a WPS option. You click that WPS button and it'll basically allow you to connect like a one-button connect instead of going through the process of putting in pins. Okay, we looked at that. You can do wireless MAC filtering, so if you want to allow only specific MACs, you can do that. Transmit power, and of course statistics. Let's see if there's anything else in here worth mentioning for now. DHCP server. So the USB counts as a mass storage device, so you can plug in an external USB hard drive for that. You can also do forwarding. If you want to have an SPI firewall, which in this case the stateful packet inspection, you pretty much always want this. Stateful is always a great idea. Parental controls. Access control. Okay, enable internet access control, so you could do that. You can add rules, advanced routing for static routes, bandwidth control, IP MAC binding or ARP, dynamic DNS, system tools, etc. So for now, let's just move forward with connecting to this device. So let's connect to the wireless access point, TP-Link 8D44_5G. That's not the one we configured, so let's go to the 2.4, uncheck the box, and hit connect. From here, let's put in our WPA password, and you're going to see that it is now connected and secured. What is my IP.com? You're going to notice this is the external IP address that I have on my Firewalla. But once again, you're going to notice here my status shows me connected between an SPI firewall. So basically, I don't know why I keep closing this. So basically, my IP address on the 192.168.0 network, which oddly enough, my Ethernet adapter has also been put on that network. So what I'm going to do, considering this stuff here, you're going to notice I'm attached to the Wi-Fi and the physical Ethernet. So let me disconnect from my Wi-Fi here and reconnect. And you're going to notice that I am connected. So with the shared hotspot option, you can physically connect a computer into the TP-Link and gain access. Or you can have the TP-Link create a wireless access point. I like this method best with the Ethernet connectivity because, well, then you don't have to worry about Wi-Fi. If you only have a single device that needs to connect to the network, well, I'm plugged into it now. Good to go. If you have, 3 or 4 devices that need to connect, you will, of course, need to have Wi-Fi configured for all these devices to connect to it. But I mean, that's pretty much it. I now have a really small, cool travel router. It is powered by USB. I've connected to it via shared hotspot mode with Ethernet connectivity and Wi-Fi connectivity. I came in and showed you that you just connect your device to whatever SSID or whatever is out there, and we're good to go. We are now protected from anyone on that Wi-Fi network that's also there. Once again, I love this option because, well, I'm protected against anyone getting to my network, but I can get out to their network. The SPI firewall, including NAT, allows this to happen. So let's look at this from a different point of view. Move you out of the way. All right, so what we're going to do here is we're going to talk about how this actually works. So hotspot mode basically takes the TP-Link and it looks for a wireless signal from another provider. In this case, this is my home. It could be a apartment complex, it could be a hotel, hell, it could be an RV park. So the TP-Link connects to whatever Wi-Fi is out there. Your computer or laptop, whatever you may have, can connect physically to the TP-Link to get to the internet. It can also broadcast its own SSID and provide wireless access for phones, tablets, laptops, other computers, pretty much anything you want. I really like this option because, well, you connect via Wi-Fi to whomever, and you allow Wi-Fi to connect to your network. Now what happens here, because this is an SPI firewall, it basically stops communication from entering your network. But because this has a NATed address, so basically takes a single IP from their network and allows multiple devices to connect outbound via that single IP address. So that's pretty much SPI firewall and NAT in a nutshell. No one can get into your network, but people can get out of your network using that single IP address. But once again, this is shared hotspot mode. The next thing I want to show us is what happens when we want to use a shared Ethernet option. So let me clear the screen really quick, and I'm going to connect you into my home network via Ethernet, and let's see what happens. So I have a connection here that I used for my computer. If I can find the network cable. So I'm going to change this from shared hotspot mode to shared Ethernet mode. When I click this button to shared Ethernet, I'm going to plug in my network connection. And what we have to do is we need to look at our network. So right now it seems like we lost connectivity because when you change the switching mode, it reboots the box. So wait here a second just to see if it comes back up. I'm hoping I don't actually have to power cycle this thing myself, but I think I did that by mistake anyway. So let's just see how it goes. For now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure we are connected to Wi-Fi. And from the wireless connection, we will see that TP link. I'm not connected to anything currently, so in a moment, we'll connect to the TP link over the wireless connectivity, and we'll be able to see how this goes. So, show it up. Let's connect. So now we're connected to the TP link over Wi-Fi. You're going to notice I still have an IP address, 192.168.0.1, and a default gateway of 0.1. So let me come back in here. Let me reconnect to my device. You'll notice now that the WAN is connected to 192.168.21. This is my wired network. So the wireless network was 10.2.102. The wired was 192.168.21. So looking at the status here, we're now connected to our TP link via wireless, and we have our internet connected via an Ethernet cable. So let's see. Let's come back here to what is my IP address. And you're going to notice my IP address changed to my other network. One of the things I like about this option is that at some places you may have the ability to have a wireless connection or a Ethernet connection. Ethernet is always better because, I mean, it's a direct connection, it's switching, there's no signal loss, you don't have to worry about how far away you are from that access point. If that hotel or wherever provides you Ethernet connectivity, you plug it in here to the shared Ethernet port, plug it in, connect to the Wi-Fi, you're on the internet. So as a travel router, the TP-Link is pretty awesome and it works really well. Of course, I don't think this is going to work because it's internal to my network. So what I'm going to do really quick, I'm going to turn it back to shared Wi-Fi mode or shared hotspot mode and see what happens. So I've disconnected it from my home network and changed it into hotspot mode, shared hotspot, and it looks like the device rebooted itself. So keep that in mind. When you do change modes, it will reboot. And since we've already seen this, the last thing I want to talk about, this actually has a AP ring extension. I should have turned on my light. AP/ring extension/client. I haven't used that yet, but I'm guessing what this does, instead of having the SPI firewall and the NAT, It'll basically attach to the wireless network you have and extend that wireless network somewhere else. So like if I had my wireless access point in my office and I wanted to get on my home network, not the TP-Link network, from my patio as an example, but the wireless is really, really weak at my patio, this mode will allow me to connect to my office and then extend or retransmit that signal further. And that, of course, allows me to be on the same network, same Wi-Fi, and all of that jazz, because I'm just simply extending the wireless range. So now I think we are back up and running. Let's double check our wireless access. Connect to the TP-Link. Connected, secured. And we're back on my wireless network. Once again, 10.2.102.50, wireless, Tim Netgear, and connected. So, if you're in the mood, if you're in the need for a travel router and you don't want to spend a lot of money, $40 is actually not that bad. The N300 or single band, it's a little bit smaller and it doesn't do 5 gigahertz, but it's only $28.50. Firewalla, on the other hand, the Firewalla Purple is $330. So keep in mind, when you're looking at a travel router, if you want to use a device you already use, it's already pre-configured, and you want to control it from your phone, yes, the Firewalla Purple is an excellent travel routing device, but I mean, I can come out here and buy a TP-Link for 40 bucks. Buying a Purple for $330? I don't know. You really have to ask yourself, what are you going to do with this device? If you simply want to protect yourself and your devices from a shared Ethernet or a shared wireless signal, well, it's probably an easier and better idea just to get the TP-Link. But you have to spend a little bit of time understanding how the device works. You have to connect to it. You have to set up the connectivity through this web page. It's not just going to come online and work and you connect to it via a phone app. But once again, you have to ask yourself, is $300 really worth all of that just for a travel router? Keep in mind, I'm not saying don't get the Purple. I mean, I can have my Purple connected in my office and it's my router. If I say, you know what, I'm going to be gone a week, I can unplug that Purple from my home network and take it with me, and I can use it wherever I'm going. You can also do that with this TP-Link. A single device connects to your cable modem or your DSL or whatever, and it provides network access and Wi-Fi to your house for 40 bucks. So keep that in mind when you're looking at this stuff. Now this is the end of what I'm going to say is my intro to the TP-Link. I want to keep this one really short. This is an intro, some of the options. This is how it works. These are the connections. Go about your day. I'm going to create another video that goes into detail what all of these options are. So if you don't care about the advanced features and options, don't worry about it. But like I said, if you want a good, easy, cheap travel router, TP-Link is also a really good way to go, and I've used this thing for many, many years. Alright, well, that's it for me in my intro. I hope everyone enjoyed this and gives you something to think about. I will see you in the next one.